BALT we started in 2015. There was a call from community organizers. And this was right after Freddie Gray was murdered. The subsequent days after the uprising, we provided support as in legal observing, jail support, court support, and a bail fund. After, there were 5 of us left, and we decided to try to create something sustainable that would kind of help with the symptoms and why the uprising even ever began in the first place. It took 5 of us, with all of us having different values. We had different upbringings. We brought different experiences to the table.
For me, the goal of BALT is to use the law to change the conversation around structural racism and to deconstruct the system of economic violence that we see in the community around us.
The reason why we started was we wanted to provide community education because we realized that the trials of the 6 officers who were on trial for murdering Freddie Gray, that there was a lot of confusion when it came to the difference between the criminal trial and the difference between the civil settlement. And we just realized that there was a lot that the community did not know. And so we came together at first to kind of fill that gap.
A young man from Baltimore had been shot in the back by Baltimore County Police a few months earlier. It had a headline, but like literally just the headline and a 2-sentence in the paper. And so I remember being heartbroken that they had done it again to another young man, and then also surprised that anyone cared. The way that the system is established is it's set up to be reformed.
Just start from slavery, right? You bring a people here, you strip them of their culture, their language, and then you free them, but you don't give them land, you don't give them anything of worth. You make it appear as if they're equal, and you say, well, wait a minute, you don't have the chains on, you don't have physical chains on. So, you should be able to strive, and succeed like everyone else. And if you don't, it's because you're lazy and you don't want it. And let's forget about everything that happened. That speaks to the law.
Law school and lawyering in general is this training that you get that intellectually bankrupt in lots of ways. Being a lawyer and being trained in law school is often about learning how to dominate a situation and how to use your power to silence and bully others. For me, community lawyering tries to flip that frame on its head by saying that I will be guided by those who are in most need, and I'm going to take my direction from them and offer them not just service, right? A service model is like, oh, here, you need something, I'll do it for you.
Our approach to community lawyering is to break down the traditional attorney-client hierarchy, to use our law degrees to gain access to the traditional halls of power. When we're challenging the system, we're challenging in a system that's, wants to be self-preserving. There's a lot of systems in Baltimore that have yet to change. I think one of the leading systems that we'd like to see change to prevent such harm is the criminal justice system.
We're not taught to shift power from one group of people to the next, right? The law was mainly designed to reserve and preserve power for those that had it. When we think about institutions that are working together to oppress us, it's kind of harder to use the law to rectify that. Police are protected by laws, by statutes, even when they're arrested, right? When you have a police officer that's arrested, they don't get the same treatment. They don't have to make a statement for like maybe the first 10 days. There's no transparency into who's a bad officer, history of complaints, history of abuse, and especially, within Maryland, there definitely needs to be a change in the transparency of the way that police officers are reprimanded, the way that they are, how they're treated once they're arrested. BALT is definitely committed to at least bringing awareness to the issue and increasing transparency around, frankly, something the public does not have access to a lot of the stuff.
One of the projects we've been focusing on the past couple of years has been bail reform, and part of that has been bailing out folks that have been held on money bail and cash bail.
During Mama's Day, we do a Mama's Day bailout every year. We bail mothers out of jail. I can't underestimate the impact of someone not spending, Mother's Day behind bars or spending less days behind bars than they would have.
I don't think we've seen a lot change, and I think that's where BALT is currently working now.
I certainly think with more resources and more support, we could do more radical work to dismantle systems instead of trying to chip away at their edges.
We need to bring up more radical and new models of resources and support, and in doing so, we need to ask folks to fund community organizations, our partners, and folks that are doing this work in different ways.